Political corruption is a pervasive issue that gnaws at the very foundation of democracy, eroding public trust and stifling both economic and social development. It manifests in various forms, from bribery and embezzlement to nepotism and favoritism, creating a toxic environment where the rule of law is undermined and the voices of the citizens are silenced. The consequences are dire. Resources that could have been directed toward education, healthcare, and infrastructure are siphoned off into the pockets of corrupt officials, leaving communities impoverished and disillusioned. To combat this insidious problem, a multifaceted approach is essential, one that addresses systemic vulnerabilities and emphasizes individual accountability. Establishing robust legal frameworks is a crucial first step. Strong anti-corruption laws must be enacted and enforced, criminalizing practices such as bribery and embezzlement. These laws should not only exist on paper, but must be backed by independent institutions equipped to investigate and prosecute corruption without fear or favor. When the rule of law is applied consistently and fairly, it sends a clear message that corruption will not be tolerated. Transparency and open governance are equally vital in the fight against corruption. Prioritizing the disclosure of information related to public spending and decision-making helps expose corrupt practices. Citizens have the right to know how their tax money is being spent and to scrutinize the decisions made by their elected officials. Implementing systems that require public officials to declare their assets can further promote accountability. When officials are compelled to explain their wealth, it becomes more challenging for them to engage in corrupt activities without facing scrutiny. Civil society and the media play indispensable roles in uncovering corruption and advocating for accountability. A free press acts as a watchdog, investigating and reporting on corrupt activities that might otherwise go unnoticed. Investigative journalism has the power to shine a light on malfeasance, mobilizing public outrage and prompting action. Likewise, civil society organizations serve as advocates for transparency, pushing for reforms and holding public officials accountable. Public awareness campaigns are essential in educating citizens about the detrimental effects of corruption, empowering them to demand change and engage in the political process. Electoral reforms are another critical component of the anti-corruption strategy. Strengthening campaign finance regulations can help curb the influence of money in politics, ensuring that elections are fair and democratic. Independent electoral commissions must be established to oversee the electoral process, free from political interference. When citizens believe that their votes count and that elections are conducted fairly, they are more likely to trust their government and engage in civic activities. Long-term prevention of corruption requires a cultural shift, one that promotes ethical leadership and civic education. Instilling values of accountability and integrity in the younger generation is crucial for fostering a society that rejects corruption. Educational institutions should incorporate lessons on ethics and civic responsibility, encouraging students to understand their role in governance and the importance of holding leaders accountable. International cooperation is also necessary in the fight against corruption. Global initiatives that promote anti-corruption standards and facilitate collaboration among nations can create a united front against this issue. Countries can share best practices, resources, and strategies to combat corruption effectively. Citizens, too, must be encouraged to play an active role in governance, holding their leaders accountable and demanding ethical practices. Ultimately, combating political corruption is not just the responsibility of governments or institutions. It requires the collective effort of society as a whole. By fostering a culture of transparency, accountability, and civic engagement, we can create an environment where corruption is not tolerated and democracy can thrive. Only then can we hope to build a future where public trust is restored, and economic and social development can flourish, benefiting all members of society.